I have a second channel, Cube Compium TDX. Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about rewrapping 18650 lithium-ion battery cells. So I went on Amazon and purchased this pack of 18650 lithium-ion cell wrappings. It's a pack of 240. I think I paid about $10 for this. And what's nice is it's assorted colors. You have blue, yellow, clear, black, purple, light green, dark blue, another green, a lighter purple, almost pink, gray, red, and a different green. So definitely a good variety of colors to choose from here. And what's neat is you can get, if you like Superman or Batman or whatever you please, I'm sure you'll find it on Amazon or eBay. There's all sorts of different patterns you can actually purchase to make your cells look cool, and I'm sure a lot of you in the vaping community are probably interested in that. And if you want your batteries to mimic energizers, I'm sure you'll find that as well. So I have 4 cells here that need to be rewrapped. The reason why these are getting rewrapped is because the current wrappings that are on them are damaged. So, for example, if you look at this one, you'll see the wrapping doesn't look all that great on it. It's camera will focus. I have a different lighting scenario right now because I'm in the kitchen. The reason why I'm in the kitchen is because, of course, I'll be using a heat gun, and the outlets in the kitchen have a lot more capacity on them than what's in the tack room. So this cell has a tiny little spot on it, which I'm going to pull this tape off, and you'll probably be able to see it better. So essentially, the cell has a very little pinhole nick in the cell wrapping, and that is enough to where the cell could short circuit. So essentially, on a lithium-ion cell, or also with other rechargeable cells as well, this right here is positive, and just over here is negative. So it's very close between positive and negative. And this cell wrapping, of course, keeps the cell wrapped, of course, but it also insulates most of the cell casing from getting inadvertently touched with a contact of some sort, because again, the entire perimeter of this cell is negative, and that right there is positive. So we're going to start out with this cell right here. Here's another cell. This one here, same deal. It's got some damage and needs rewrapping. This cell right here is very badly damaged. The wrapping is. This is how I got it. It was still in like a shipping pack, so it was not. It was okay to have it the way it was, but I couldn't use it like this because, of course, this right here is negative. That right there is positive. So anytime your 18650s get nicked up like that, you definitely want to rewrap them ASAP. Now, an interim type of fix would be like packing tape to cover the spot, but really, you want to rewrap them. Then, of course, what you see in this video can also be used. Let's say if you get some cells that are, let's say you get some pink cells and you want them to be blue or red or orange or whatever. This will apply to you as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my heat gun, plug it in. Yeah, I picked this up at Lowe's for like $20-something the other day. You can also use you can also use your girlfriend's or wife's hairdryer if you like as well. It'll work, because all you need to do is heat up the wrapping that you put on the cell. Set this off to the side. So, to start out, we need to go ahead and remove the old cell wrapping. And Just do that with a razor knife, and be careful with razors. And just put a little spot right here. Just enough to cut the wrapping, and see, that's all it took, was a small spot like that. You don't need to bear down hard when doing this. You don't want to puncture the cell, let's just say that. So all you have to do is just get one spot, and once you're able to tear it off, it usually comes off pretty easy. As you may see, this stuff is quite thin. Careful not to cut yourself as well when doing this. Also try not to gouge out the cell if you can help it. These things are encased in steel, so they are pretty tough, but still. And Tweety Bird's back there making all sorts of crazy noises. The parakeet. You can see him on Cube Comp Empty Deck if you like. Okay, so the cell is now unwrapped. You want to go ahead and save the little disc that is up front and reuse it. So this is the little disc, and it sits on top of the cell just like that. And it's a good idea to go ahead and take this opportunity to clean any dirt that might be inside here, because of course that can be conductive in some cases. So go ahead and set that back on just like that, and we'll go ahead and pull out some fresh cell wrapping. So for this cell, I'm going to actually wrap it in, what color shall I choose? I'm going to actually wrap this one the same color it was before, purple. Why not? So these things they're quite thin. They're not very thick. So you just pull one out and get it started. You go ahead and insert the cell. I'm going to pull the little disc off for a moment. Just make sure you remember to stick it back in when you're done. Okay, so you'll notice that you have some extra on both ends. So now you'll go and stick your insulating disc back in. In my opinion, you want to have more of the wrapping up on the positive side, so that way it wraps around and secures the little insulating disc in place. And we'll set up just like that, and we'll take our heat gun, and this is like heat shrink tubing. It's very similar to it. So we don't need to run this on high. Run it on low. Careful not to burn yourself. And once this heats up, you can see just like that, it takes nothing at all. I'll go ahead and do the negative side. Again, just be careful to make sure you don't get your cell too hot. That's the key thing. That you don't burn yourself, because the heat coming out of the heat gun is quite hot. Okay, that's it. It's wrapped. This is actually the very first time I've rewrapped a cell. So there you go. You can see there's going to be a little crease on the sides. That's pretty much a given. So this cell is rewrapped and is ready to be put back into service. And there's no longer any nicks on the top, so again, we're good to go there. Okay, move on to the next one. So again, heat gun is actually smoking a little bit. This is the first time I've ever powered it on. I'm pretty sure that's probably a given. It's never been used before. It's gotta get broke in. So now we're going to do the Panasonic. Well, the rest of these are Panasonics. And one thing I notice about Panasonic cells is their wrapping is just the wrapping on them is just crap. So if you're using Panasonic lithium-ion cells, just be careful with them, because you may find yourself needing to rewrap them after a while. As you see, so far I have not even had to use a razor knife on this, and I'm just peeling it off. So perhaps if you have Panasonic cells, maybe this is a good thing to do with them. It's just rewrap them. So this is what the Panasonic NCR 18650B looks like when you unwrap it. Again, just like with the previous cell, you'll want to go ahead and save the insulator disc. And it's just a little bit small piece of material that sits on top like this, just like that. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and grab another cell wrap, and this time I'm going to use. Let's try out the clear. No, excuse me. On this cell, I'm going to be using green. The reason why is because this particular cell is paired up with another one just like it. This is one of my camera, weather case camera cells for CubeComp MTDX. So my camera cells, as you may know, I do the 18650 model of my cameras and run these things in parallel in pairs, and I try to keep them paired up together throughout their service life. So that's a pretty close, almost if not exactly the same color. So not bad, I must say, not bad for what I paid for this. And it's so freaking easy to do, I think. Okay, so just like before. And again, if I didn't mention, yeah, this cooktop is not conductive. But if you're working on a different surface, you gotta be careful when you unwrap these things. Because when they're unwrapped, that's when they're most vulnerable to shorts. They're getting shorted out. Okay, so this cell has been successfully rewrapped. Not bad, and it looks almost like an original NCR 18650B cell. So, pretty pleased with that. Okay, so I'm going to wrap the remaining two cells that I have. And I'm going to be using these to power my weather case cameras. And of course, as you can see, this one really needs to be rewrapped. This one hasn't got to that critical point yet, but the wrapping isn't exactly in the best condition. Again, I'm not a really big fan of the wrapping that's being used on these Panasonic cells. It's not that great. I've had some before years ago, and they were the same way. So it seems to be like exclusive to Panasonic. Other brands like LG, their wrappings are pretty good, but the factory wrapping that's on these things, not so great. And if I hadn't mentioned already, I think I did mention it, but you want to be careful with the heat gun. You don't want to focus heat on the cell too much because you don't want to overheat the cell. Matter of fact, if you look on YouTube at 18650 explosions, heat guns are a way that many people artificially run these things into thermal runaway, or blow mode as some people call them. So yeah, you gotta be careful with them. Okay, I'm going to have to actually slice this one. This one's being a little more durable. That's kind of funny, actually. Again, you want to be pretty light with the razor or anything that's pointed, because once I get this pulled off of here, you can see it put a little gouge in the steel on this thing. And the last thing you ever want to do is puncture one of these things. I mean, this wrapping is very thin. And it takes next to nothing to cut it, so you're cutting through that and also gouging into the steel. And look how nice and shiny and pretty that is. What do you say, why don't we use clear on these two? Since I'm going to be running these in a pair, it's fine to choose whatever color I'd like. And I'll know what these cells are because I can look at the tops of them and tell, obviously, they're the Panasonics. Now in the future I may do another cell harvest, and I might have some more Panasonics on hand. So that'd be something to think of in the future. But that's one thing about the Sony and the Sanyo cells I like, is the wrappings they use are kind of clear. You can see through them and see the cell. You can actually see the bare cell a little bit. I'm also curious to see how well this material holds up compared to the other stuff. If it holds up as well or if it doesn't. And place a little insulator back on the cell. Probably the only downside of this color is it may be a little more difficult to see. It might be a little more difficult to see if a cell is got a if the wrapping has a nick in it or something. So if you're using these for certain applications, the absolute clear may not be something I'd recommend, but I'm gonna try it just to see how it looks. Pretty cool to see the actual cell. Okay, so I think I got this where I want it, so about like that. And we'll go ahead and shrink this one down. Okay, so that one's been wrapped. This is what it looks like. I might want to actually hit the top of it a little bit more. just to make sure that material is sitting on there good and flat. Okay, so this one's been wrapped, and I'm not exactly a fan of this car. I'm going to go ahead and use it on the other cell, but I'm probably not going to use that in the future, only in the other cells. Because, I mean, look at it. You can barely even tell there's a wrapping there. So, while it looks cool, I'm not so sure about it. I kind of prefer, you know, this right there. That's my opinion anyway. So, place that to the side, and we'll go ahead and do this one, and we'll be done. Yeah, this one here, just tear it right off. Like nothing. Yeah, these Panasonics don't have very good wrapping on them. Okay, now this insulator is a little nicked up, but it should be fine. Because it really just covers the top of the cell and nothing else. And pretty much it expects your cell wrap to take care of the rest. Just like that. And we're going to shrink it down. Just make sure the insulator stays put in the center. And you should be good to go. Okay, I think that pretty much does it. Yeah, these Panasonic cells, they the flat tops, the flat tops on them are much smaller than like LG Chem or just generic, for example. I like it and I hate it at the same time. I have hit or miss opinions on it. So, that is 4 rewrapped, freshly rewrapped 18650 cells. Anyways, that's how you rewrap 18650s. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Well guys, that's it for this one. But it doesn't have to be. There's plenty more videos on the channel to check out. Also, if you liked the video, please click the like button. And if you absolutely hated it, there is the alternative button as well. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel. I definitely appreciate it. And remember to click the bell so that we get notified of all updates. Also, if you're interested in things aside from computers and technology, check out my second channel. It's CubeComp MTDX. Over there you'll find videos about weather, elevators, bicycling, and pretty much whatever else I figure out to upload. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for your support.